Hey everyone. So my name's Donovan. Anyways, on Saturday, I went to the AMC Westgate Entertainment District, like 20 theater. Saw the 9 a.m. showing of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I was quite disappointed in that movie. You know, I left just not liking really much anything that was going on with it. Honestly, I think this was the first. Well, I wouldn't say first Star Wars, but well, I guess Star Wars movie I saw in theaters that I rolled my eyes at. I mean, besides like some of the stuff that happened in prequels when I was older, when those came out on DVD, I would roll my eyes at a few scenes, but this was like the first one though in theaters that I watched, like, well, not the first Star Wars movies I saw in theaters, but the first one, that I rolled my eyes at in theaters. With so many bad decisions that were being made with it, and I just, especially from the beginning, like Poe not, listen to Leia and stuff, like, you know, which, like, if you don't follow a commanding officer's orders, pretty much you're some deep shit for that. Uh, I think what happens, well, like, I think you just, like, you're suspended from duty or whatever and stuff, and you're just not allowed to do anything, you know. But there was that, and oh, and this is going to contain spoilers, so that's why I waited till today, after the weekend, so that way hopefully everyone has had the time to see it, and at least plenty of people. Um, but there was the whole thing with Leia out in space, which I'm like, okay, you're dead. You're dead. When you're out in space, you're dead. There's nothing like, unless she created like a fourth bubble or something around her. I don't remember Star Wars lore. If there's anything in the Star Wars lore, like from Legends, where it talks about that stuff, or if there's anything on the Clone Wars, I don't remember. Luckily, I could watch that stuff, I guess, with Netflix or whatever. But yeah, there was like she's out in space and she does this flick of the hand kind of stuff where she brings herself back into the ship, and I'm just like, well, you're dead. You're dead. You died. I mean, there's it was a dumb scene. Like, um, I know. Oh no, no, that's Mass Effect. That's Mass Effect, where if you ever play those games, it's in the no, not the third one, the second one. Um, what those creatures that are serving the Reapers, the Harvesters, or something like. Well, no, I forget what they're called, but there's the swarm bugs and stuff that are used like little drones or whatever that freeze people. But like you have this Asari whatever with you, or I think you can use Miranda or whomever that makes like this projection or whatever. I don't know if Jedi can do something like that though. I just remember, like, was it the old Clone Wars though, where Obi-Wan had this, like, he could have his hand out and like repel stuff, but of course Darth Vader was able to do that as well, which is pretty cool. Especially with Kylo Ren though being able to freeze, but that's been done before in Star Wars lore, I think. Anyways, um, so there was that whole thing where I was just thinking, like, maybe she could create a shield or something around them to protect them. That I think that should have been actually what should have happened, or they could have killed her right then and there. I don't know, but obviously they actually wanted her to be in the ninth film. Although with Carrie Fisher dead, I don't know how they're gonna do that, except probably put in a new actress. Like, um, I'm thinking like Michelle Pfeiffer, perhaps. Because I'm looking at someone who's like around the same age as Carrie Fisher, and they're about the same age. So, gotta find someone that works, not Meryl Streep. I asked someone on YouTube about who should they cast, and one guy said Meryl Streep. I'm like, no. Meryl Streep's older than Carrie Fisher, so let's find someone around Carrie Fisher's age. But anyways, yeah, they should have just done the whole force, like a force bubble or something, like force shield or something where, you know, she protected, even Akbar. I mean, now he's gone, but especially though, like when Poe and Finn, I believe, are the ones opening that door. Now they're like, decompressurizing that hallway where people just be shooting right out, through there. Like it should just be like everyone being sucked into the vacuum of space like immediately. But anyways, like that was a big problem right there. So, but it's whatever. Star Wars people like to ignore physics and all that crap. Then there's a whole thing where Luke throws the lightsaber just behind him stuff towards that cliff. I'm like, well, that's out of character. So I don't know. Just Rey's just like, huh? Like, I don't get it. Like, why would you do that? But he just doesn't want anything to do it. But the whole thing with him being on Acto, isolating himself. Oh, and there's that thing where if you play Star Wars Battlefront 2, that compass he has is actually in the movie. It's actually there. So that's the only thing from that game that actually makes it into the movie. So I thought that was different, but let's see. But yeah, the whole Acto, like he says he's gonna train her in 3 things or whatever, like 3 lessons, and he only, I think, I'm not sure if it's like he only trains her 1 or 2 things, but I think it's mainly just 1 that he's trying to, or maybe 2 at the same time. Like, because I think, well, no, I think it's just 1 that he's trying to teach her at the time. But yeah, and then Rey just all of a sudden just becomes really proficient. Really well trained at using a lightsaber and stuff. I'm just like, that takes years to get really good at using a lightsaber. Because it's just good, like just for a few hours or whatever. And it's, that whole thing is pretty much like Empire Strikes Back. That whole training session and everything, it's pretty much Empire Strikes Back with Luke going to Dagobah, with Yoda have isolated himself and stuff. I mean, it's not like they're at the same planet, but it's pretty much the same kind of thing. Although Yoda was the better master than Luke was, but although the Jedi did get deceived by one Sith Lord, which is unbelievable to me. But hey, at least with the prequels, George did write an original story and stuff and all that, but didn't have to use any plot points from his original trilogy. But anyways, yeah, and the whole scene with Luke getting the milk or whatever from that beast, I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, that's so weird. But I mean, I know he's got to survive, but I'm just like whatever. Like, it is what it is. I just found it kind of disturbing to look at. I'm like, no. And then there's like those nuns that are like the caretaker of like the Jedi temple. Which I'm like, oh boy. But then Rey's shooting the blaster, and this, I mean, I only laughed, I think, a couple, like 2 to 3 times in this movie. Like, well, not in this movie, but at the movie. And yeah, it. And then there's the whole Finn and Rose subplot, which did not need to be in this movie at all, because they had to go find a code breaker, because somehow, the First Order is just all of a sudden this technology, this new technology is invented where they can track people through hyperspace or at light speed or whatever. And, it's just more stuff. Just, I don't know if that was even in the books, but I guess it's something new at least. But, but Leia incapacitated, knocked out. Vice Admiral Holdo, which I hate this character so much, because I'm just gonna skip over some stuff real quick. So there's this point where Benicio del Toro's character, who's the code breaker DJ, he has to, he pretty much tells the First Order what's going on with the Resistance and their plan and stuff, and then they start shooting these transports that have no shields. Which I'm like, okay, I guess it's everyone for themselves and stuff, but when they start destroying the transports, Vice Admiral Holdo's just standing there watching several of her transports getting destroyed. I'm like, okay, how are you a Vice Admiral? First of all, if you watch any like war movies or anything like that, or play any war games, like as first as something goes wrong, the commanding officer has been like makes a quick decision like that and says, okay, we gotta go do this like right now and stuff. But she's standing there like she's like, oh my god, the transport's getting destroyed. Like she doesn't say that, but you tell it's like, oh my god, this plan's not working. Like what the heck is going on? And it's like, lady, get your ass into gear and think it's the right now, damn it. Like, you gotta, like, oh my gosh. Because the military will not take people who do that. If you stand there and stuff and just watch shit go down, like, they don't like that. Not any modern military today, or for the past 70 years or whatever, does not take people like that. You have to be, like, on your game 100%. You cannot hesitate at all. You have to, they train you in a way where, you make quick decisions and stuff, so that way, it's a victory, but, for, your side. But she's just standing there watching the transports, and I think this is only something that was done in Star Trek. I don't know, but, if it is, but, I think there's something where she could have done where she could have perhaps extended the shields to, protect the transports or something like that. I don't know if that was something that could have been done, but, as first as the first one or two ships were destroyed, she should have immediately began to do that light speed, like, ram into that First Order fleet, which, if that was, like, the entire fleet, and especially, like, at the beginning of the movie where it says, the First Order now rules the galaxy, I'm like, wait, what? Like, that's not that's not how stuff works, because in The Force Awakens, Starkiller base is destroyed, and I know they destroyed Hosnian Prime, which at the time was the capital of the New Republic, but there's another system from what I remember that they switched between two alternate planets or whatever, so that other planet would actually become the new capital, which would become the capital of the New Republic. So the First Order couldn't just say, okay, now we control the galaxy. First of all, your Starkiller, solar system destroyer pretty much is gone. I know you had the Supremacy, class, resurgent thing where, Star Destroyer, and then you have this Dreadnought and stuff and all that, but you have just this fleet. Like, you just had this fleet. So, that you don't rule the galaxy. You might rule like a small cluster of systems or whatever, a few planets out there and stuff, but technically there's nothing, for you to, like, no one's gonna bow to the First Order, but yeah, like, the whole Vice Admiral thing, she did when she did that, but she should have done that like right away. It should have been like a scene where she's just watching each and every single of her transports get destroyed and stuff, and I'm like, especially like when Rey like leaves and she's on that ship and she's watching it stuff like, but like Snoke shows her like that's from Battle of Endor, Return of the Jedi stuff. I'm like, how many plot points do you have to use from the original trilogy for this sequel trilogy? I mean, you don't need to do that. You can be. I mean, you have all these Star Wars books that did not borrow from the original trilogy. I mean, they made references, but they were their own stories and stuff. But Disney kind of kicked those books to the curb, and which is fine. Which is fine. They're allowed to do that. But they could have taken. I think what should have happened is, instead of what we're getting now, it should have been completely different with the using Bong. And I apologize if I messed that name up, but I think it should have been those guys, those aliens who come in from another galaxy and start invading that Star Wars galaxy. And I think they start in the unknown regions, I believe, and then they go into the outer rim and stuff and start conquering planets and all that. And I'm just thinking, like, that would have been something actually new instead of having the First Order, because all you would have to just do is put in a book series where it just says, like, where in this time frame, or like say like a 5-year time frame, that all remnants of the Empire is done, like they're gone and stuff. Instead of like they allow them to escape for some reason, which I find very weird. It's like, why would you do that? Like, if you allow them to escape, then you're gonna allow them to come back and start causing problems and stuff. It just, the whole thing was stupid. But at least with like the heir to the Empire stuff with Admiral Thrawn, Grand Admiral Thrawn, he came back from the unknown regions and gathered what was left to actually start a counterattack against the rebels and stuff. But I don't know. But the Yusing Vong should have been actually the antagonists of this new sequel trilogy. That would have been different. And these guys look creepy as hell. They can be scary and stuff looking. And I believe from what I've read is that Jedi can't use their Force powers on them. So it would have been something different. And I don't think they could sense them or something like that. I don't know. But these guys, they could have been the new enemies. And you don't exactly have to follow the whole storyline of the new Jedi Order books to say what happened with them. But because I know Anakin Solo, who was like the youngest child of Han Solo, gets killed, and I know Chewbacca ends up dead because like a moon or hits this planet that he's on. So they don't have to go along those lines. But it would have actually created something, where maybe like Ben Solo or whatever could then later become, Kylo Ren or something, but or not. But because where does Snoke come from and stuff and all that, and it's just weird, because they don't go into much detail unless they do it for episode 9, say who Snoke was. But the whole double crossing stuff there in the scene, the Praetorian Guard fight and stuff. I mean, that was cool, but I wanted like an actual saber fight, and there was no, there was not really an actual saber fight, because Luke makes this astral projection of himself on Crate, and the whole fight on Crate is retarded. It's retarded. They didn't, because it's pretty much going down like the same way as it did on for the Battle of Hoth. Where the Resistance, not the Resistance, but the rebels, the Rebel Alliance on Hoth, sends out their spears and stuff to allow the rebels the time to evacuate and stuff. And the Resistance fighters get into like these old speeder things or whatever, and they're facing off against the ATM-6s, I think is what they're called, which is a really weird name, but they're going against them and they're just going to get shut off. They're getting picked off by the TIE fighters that are coming down, and then the Millennium Falcon shows up and draws them away and stuff, and which was nice, but that's only because Kylo Ren sees it. He's like, shoot that piece of junk out of the sky, and I'm just like, oh boy. Oh, what was it that Vice Admiral Holo said was Godspeed? I'm like, that doesn't go in with Star Wars. There's no, like, that doesn't work. So, yeah, I thought that was just weird that happened. When she said that, I'm like, that doesn't hit the ear right. Oh, but anyways, let me go on actually. Well, here, let me finish up the battle crate thing first before I go with the Finn and Rose subplot and stuff with the Codebreaker and all that. Well, it does kind of relate into the battle crate because they're pretty much setting everything up as it was for the Battle of Hoth, but it's like they didn't learn from that battle, I guess, because you pretty much have, your entire, your defense in front of that door, pretty much, which just all that pretty much is destroyed, and but they didn't set up any mines. Like they didn't set up like a minefield or anything like that out there to delay them or anything like that, which I'm sure they could have or something, but especially with like when everything's like there and just in the front, I mean, you're kind of setting yourself up to have that destroyed, because they didn't say anything up above the door or anything for like that. They didn't say anything like up on the sides, nothing like to counter or whatever and stuff. And I don't know, it just got annoying. Like it's like when you get defeated in a certain way like that, you think you would learn from your mistakes and stuff, but apparently not. They're all these. It just seems to get worse and stuff. Like I have my problems with The Force Awakens, although I do like that movie more than I like The Last Jedi. But anyways, yeah. And then Finn is about to go sacrifice himself against this cannon that's going to be used to open the front door, like the only blast door. That's at the time the only way they in or out of that base. And and Leia, they send out this distress call, and no one answers in the Outer Rim, and then they leave the planet and stuff. But which makes me wonder if I'm wondering if like the Mandalorians are going to come in and help, because my only thing though is that is Mandalore in the Outer Rim? No, I don't think so. I don't think Mandalore is, because they might have to go to that planet or something, just because they have them there and stuff, and with the dark saber, and I think the Mandalorians are going to be the guys that come in to help in Episode 9. I don't know, unless I'm wrong. It's the only thing that makes sense after what I'm watching with Star Wars Rebels. They go like a little bit and stuff for the Jedi and Sith and all this other stuff, and how things are being put forth for the original trilogy, and especially Rogue One. But yeah, I'm just wondering like who's gonna come in and help. If it's either gonna be like former members of the Rebel Alliance, or if it's gonna be Mandalorians, or if it's gonna be a mix of both. Smugglers like in the Old Republic game are gonna come in and help. So I don't know. I'm not sure how they're gonna pick up on that, but especially though with the fact that on the supremacy, because Rey doesn't have a lightsaber anymore. That lightsaber, the most popular lightsaber, the one that was used by Anakin and then Luke and then Rey for a bit and Finn, gets destroyed. It gets torn apart pretty much. which I found kind of weird because I'm thinking to myself like, well, doesn't that lightsaber kind of like answer more so to Rey? But it's whatever. I mean, I thought that lightsaber was destined to pass on to her, but it just ends up getting destroyed. Um, and then the whole fight though between Kylo and Luke that happens is kind of stupid because I'm looking, I'm like, when I see Luke there, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not Luke. Like, like that's not him because if you pay attention to the way how he looks, it's like the same form, like the way how he looked at the day when Ben, pretty much ended up turning to the dark side, like leaving the Jedi Academy, and because he looks younger, and and then he has a blue light, he has the blue lightsaber. I'm like, shouldn't he have his green lightsaber? I mean, I know he didn't destroy that. It's probably in his X-wing under the water. So, which I just found weird. And then, but anyway, the whole thing with Crate was just ridiculous. But then there's a Finn and Rose subplot that I'm going to get to. So pretty much, Finn and Rose are off to this planet called Canto Bight, which is like, I don't know, Las Vegas, Amsterdam, something like where pretty much the rich live at. The top 1%, they're going after, like, saying how, all the rich people are bad. So you're saying that Bill Gates is bad? Because this guy, from what I heard, I live in Arizona. He plans on building a smart city here in Arizona, with like homes to create jobs and stuff and all that. And I'm like, well, but it's the whole Hollywood leftist idealism and stuff, and not just like keep your politics out of my movies when I'm watching that stuff. Because they also go on this whole thing with animal cruelty with the race scene, which I'm pretty sure that doesn't. Well, I mean, at least here in the United States, I don't think that's going on, but I don't pay attention to that stuff anyways. I have no interest in it. But, they'd go over that and the kids cleaning stalls. I'm like, no, that doesn't go on. Maybe in, Asia or something like that. Or, the middle, well, I think the Middle East is part of Asia, but, stuff like that. I think it just goes on in one continent of the world, and it's not, because I don't think it goes here, it goes on here in North America, and probably not in South America. Well, it could, because there's some bad governments down in South America, but anyways, they just go over that stuff, and it was just stupid. I hate the Rose character, I really do. She's freaking annoying. And when with Finn trying to go sacrifice himself on to that cannon, Rose comes in and like hits his speeder like out of the way and stuff. It's like, I just saved you. That's how we're gonna say. That's how we're gonna say each other, and love and all this other crap. I'm like, my God, like they should have just let Finn sacrifice himself, let him die. An honorable death. A heroic death. Because if he had done that, the rebels wouldn't actually have to leave. Or the resistance fighters would not have to leave that planet. But because Rose is stupid and these writers are freaking retarded, they eventually had to leave the planet because that door, there's an opening and stuff for them now, and I'm just like, this movie sucks. Just bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. Especially with Poe causing the mutiny. But anyways, and then there's that, the whole Canto Bight stuff, everything. I mean, the planet looks nice, like it's a really nice place, but the whole thing could have just been written out as something else. Like, if Vice Admiral Holo had just told everyone what she is planning on, there would have been no mutiny, and there would have been no reason to go to Canto Bight. they're just that whole all that could have been avoided, but stupidity after stupidity. It's just this movie's a headache. I don't have much appreciation for it. It's just retarded, especially what happens to Luke, you know, dying, and he dies at the end. He just dies from exhaustion, pretty much, like the Force or whatever. I'm like, well, yeah, that's not how you die and stuff from become one with the Force. Like I don't know. Like he's pretty much like all he would need to do is just rest. It's not like he was 900 years old like Yoda, whose time pretty much because Yoda was just old and it was his time. But Luke was same age as Mark Hamill is, so it wouldn't make sense for him to leave. He. Oh, it should have happened. I was watching the Angry Joe Show review, and I think Luke should. And I agree. Luke should have been that X-wing of his and gone and shoot some of those TIE fighters down and stuff, and fought Kylo with an actual lightsaber fight, and and schooled him and stuff, and actually defeated Kylo. But they didn't want to do that. I don't know. Sometimes. Never mind. Actually, I'm not gonna talk about that. But it because they just say, oh well, Luke was at peace and stuff, and then he just gave himself up to the Force and stuff, and I'm just like, that's not how it would have gone. Especially like when it shows like the thing with Luke thinking about striking down his own nephew. I'm like, he wouldn't do that. That's not Luke, because if everyone saw Return of the Jedi, oh my gosh, they borrow a little bit of dialogue from Return of the Jedi in this movie, and I'm like, oh my god, because there's this whole stuff where Rey and Kylo are having like these things like where they're talking to each other, across the galaxy, which is possible, well, yeah, I mean, because especially with Luke and his father and Empire Strikes Back are talking to each other, and they're having like Darth Vader reaches out to his son, and then Luke kind of like notices like that he's being talked to by his father and stuff, and so that's possible and stuff. Yeah, but it was Snoke who was kind of like doing that, whatever. Snoke ends up getting killed anyways, and which is just stupid because, like, I just got to the point where I'm like, Snoke is just Snoke. There was like a little point in time where I thought maybe it could have been Darth Plagueis or something like that, but no, Snoke was just Snoke. But I wanted more on his backstory of who he was, where he had all this power and stuff. If we're giving Disney our money and stuff, we at least deserve a little bit of explanation. But they could say that for episode 9, but they don't. I mean, this movie kind of like, it's like the strike one actually on, the series, the saga, where I'm like, this was bad. I mean, I know the prequels aren't that great, but if you're a kid, I think that's what George was kind of going for. At least he's trying to make a series for a new generation for the kids, to enjoy and stuff. And I think he was trying to also do what he could, later on for the original fans, from the original trilogy, because the first one is like, you watch that. I mean, there's enough in there where the old fans are gonna like it, and then new fans are gonna like it. The second one, though, Attack of the Clones, is just it's a film for those who I guess like romance, like really bad romance, I guess. And then the third one it's like the best one out of that prequel trilogy, where you know it's got the ending and stuff and all that, where it's nice. But yeah, this one is just the first strike for me, where I'm like, you know, I hate this movie. I gave it like a 5 out of 10, or maybe it should get a 4 or something like that. But um, I gave like it was a 2 out of 5 on Rotten Tomatoes, and I did see this movie. Let me pull up, see if I don't know if my ticket thing is gonna show on this AMC app. Oh, I can activate my $5 reward. Okay. So, although it says 10 a.m., I don't know why. But anyways, let's see. So yeah, I did see it. Yes, I actually did see The Foreigner and Justice League. Just if. But yeah, this movie was quite the disappointment, and it should have just been the Yusheng Vong who were the antagonists for this new trilogy. Because if it was, it would be something totally different, and they could dive into actually make it more like a horror trilogy or something like that, like a little bit spooky and stuff, or scary, and just something completely new for the audience. Because that was something actually kind of like nice for the prequel trilogy. It was something new, because you have the prequels got droids, and then in the original trilogy it's humans, and then this one it could instead of being humans again, because it's pretty much just once again rebels fighting against the Empire. I mean, that's technically all it is again. It's the same bullshit again. I mean, it should have. You got the droids, then you got the Confederacy of Independent Systems, you got the Empire, and then you could have done the Yusheng Vong, and then you could have just ended, the series actually literally just on that note. Like, you could have just done 9 films. That'd be it. I mean, if you want to continue it, just put books, comic books, and video games. Which kind of sucks, though, that they didn't do the Yusheng Vong in any video games. I don't know why they wouldn't have done that. It'd be kind of cool for like a Battlefront series or something like that. But anyways, yeah. So 4 or 5 out of 10 really for this movie. I don't know. It's just they could have done something way better than this movie, honestly. If they had just used their heads and made something smarter, But when I watch these things, like, if you watch so many movies and stuff, and then you go into these things and stuff, and you notice these bad decisions being made, it's just like, it's completely ridiculous. Oh, and then Phasma too. They said they were going to make her like the new Boba Fett of this trilogy, which, I mean, I guess they kind of did, because Boba Fett was only in. Well, that's not exactly true. Because Boba Fett's in the original trilogy with the special edition stuff, but originally in the first cut, the theatrical release, he was not in it. He wasn't in until. Well, he was not introduced until the holiday special, I guess, but no one wants to watch that. But yeah, he was in Empire Strikes Back, and then he was in Return of the Jedi. But he had this look and this presence stuff. I mean, in Phasma, I think, especially with having all that supremacy with, was it BB-8? He took an AT-ST and started shooting at everyone, and I'm like, huh? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then Finn and Phasma are fighting. There was this book called Phasma, that talks about her character, and she's such a badass and stuff. Especially like when, I don't know if it was Rose or, I think it was Rose, but they were shooting the blaster at her armor. It was just dinking off, like it was just going, bing, it was just bouncing off, and which I thought was pretty cool for her character and stuff. But she ends up getting killed anyways, and I was like, man, like this is just bullshit. Like they're just making these awesome characters just to be thrown away, and it's it's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, okay. Well, I guess 40 minutes into this. Okay. Well, you know. Oh, Yoda is in this movie. He does make an appearance that I thought was okay. But you know, if Yoda appeared, then why didn't he appear back at the time with the whole thing that was going on with the Jedi Temple stuff and everything? Surely he would have said something to Luke and all that, and thinking about that, especially Obi-Wan would have said something or whatever. But I don't know. It's like they only appear, I guess, at their own when the plot needs them to appear. uh, so yeah, that's because like when the Empire, well, no, sorry, when the First Order arrives at Dakar and stuff, and they're evacuating that planet, Empire Strikes Back. So yeah, this movie sucks. When you have to use so many plot points, especially like The Force Awakens did, and this movie's doing it from the original trilogy, and what was it, Chris Duckman said, they can't think of anything new. Like, you just had to look at the New Jedi Order books. That's all you had to do. Read them through, or go to Wikipedia, and just get a summary on like what the Using Vaughn War was and stuff. And they could have gone with that instead of just pretty much in a way kind of like repeating the original trilogy. Oh, and then the ending, with the broom boy, who pretty much you can see like. I saw he used the Force to grab the broom and stuff, and he's got the rebel ring and stuff, and he's holding, I guess, the broom and like a lightsaber maybe. Like he's not going around like this, like how I saw, or well, not how I saw, but how. Well, no, I did see a description of it, but like how someone said also like he's using it like a lightsaber or something like that. He's like in the back playing. Like no, he's not. But anyways, because it was back on Canto Bight where they're talking about Luke Skywalker or whatever. But um, just the ending felt like really unsatisfactory. So, because he's like looking at stars and stuff and all that, and saying that anyone could be a Jedi, I guess, or have the Force, like, which is not exactly true. Because if there was this thing actually on The Wired, where what the cast of this movie were answering questions and stuff, and I'm like, no, that answer is actually wrong. Because what was it? What? The girl who plays Rey. What is her name? What is her name? I forgot what her name was. But the actress who plays Rey was answering a question about like can anyone be a Jedi, and she's like, yeah, anyone can be a Jedi. I'm like, nope. In the prequels, it says that you have to have a certain metachlorian count in order to be a Jedi, and you also have to be at a certain age to start training. So, she was technically what? I forget what her name was, but anyways,
yeah, it's just, I don't know. They could have done without that scene. I mean, this whole movie should have been something completely different, especially this entire new trilogy. But, anyways, yeah. Don't bother seeing it. Um, I mean, but if you want to, it's entirely up to you. You're the one who, you guys have your money, so you want to spend your money on it. Go ahead, but I would suggest not. Just wait for it to come to Netflix or Redbox or whatever, something for just rent the movie. Wait for it to come out for rent, and you know I suggest just wait until Jumanji or The Greatest Showman or something like that comes out, or go see The Disaster Artist or something else, or Thor Ragnarok again. I don't know, but this movie really like. I saw The Force Awakens several times in theaters, and then I watched it a few times on DVD, well, in my Amazon video. And I haven't watched it since just because I'm like, man, I'm kind of bored. Like, you know, this movie, I can just watch it once and not watch it again because I can just remember the plot points and stuff pretty well. And there's just so much in this movie that I can remember, from the beginning to end and stuff. And I'm just like, no, there's no reason to go see it again. Um, you know, it just doesn't have that magic like the original trilogy does. Where there would just be a day. It's like I want to watch the original trilogy. That's what I'm gonna do. But with this stuff, no. And it's just Luke's character isn't correct. Oh, Daisy Ridley is her name. But anyways, yeah, just don't. I mean, I left disappointed. Maybe you guys won't, but myself, yeah, it's just it was not what I was expecting it to be. Vice Admiral Holdo sucks. Leia should have just been dead. Luke being an astral projection on Crate is a stupid move. That no Jedi would ever freaking do at all. Not even his character. Like, oh my gosh, his character is just not written correctly. You know, I think Ray should just I think Ray should have stayed on Acto the entire movie, even into the next movie. Actually, I think that's what should have happened. Because he should Luke literally should have gone to her and says, "Hey, because what she's doing is the exact same thing that Luke did." Because the whole thing with the line from Return of the Jedi, she is in the elevator with Kylo Ren, and she's saying to him, "I feel the conflict within you." I'm like, "Oh my god, what the hell?" You are using the exact same line from Return of the Jedi. It's like, feel the conflict. I feel the conflict within you. Let go of your hate. And Darth Vader's like, "It is too late for you, my son." But and the way how he dies. It's so funny for me just to think about. It's because he's like, "Oh yeah, I can feel your thoughts and stuff." Like the way how he's talking, it sounds like he's getting like a force boner. Like he's getting like a raging boner or whatever from just like the whole thrill of everything going on. And Kylo, in the meantime, is like doing a flick of the fingers and stuff with the lightsaber and cuts Snoke in half, like how Darth Maul got cut in half and all that stuff. I'm just like, oh my god, this movie's retarded. Because he's literally just saying, "I can feel your thoughts." And wait, wait a minute, wait a minute. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that. I said something like this for a character that I designed as a although I don't know if this was ever touched in lore, but I remember doing something on this was like an old Facebook profile of mine, but created this Sith Lord called Darth Regnum, where he was pretty much the ultimate Sith. Although I guess, I don't know if he was more powerful than the Sith Emperor, but he's pretty much this guy who pretty much came in and says, with each citizen's thoughts and stuff, like he can know their thoughts and stuff. Like I was thinking of something like that, like just out of the blue. So hearing this, I'm like, I call copyright on that bullshit. I call copyright on that. I don't know if other people has maybe thought something like that, maybe, but I don't know. I think the fan community, if anyone out there has actually also thought something like that, you need to call them on that, because technically that's not their idea. That belongs to myself, but all of you who have thought something like that too. That kind of idea belongs to you guys as well. If you ever thought something like that too for a Sith Lord, because I just remember that. I remember when he's saying that stuff. I'm just going over it now. I remember creating a character who's pretty much could do the same thing, but he can do it for every single person, like throughout the galaxy, pretty much. Where he says, your thoughts are my thoughts and stuff, and where you're thinking, I will know about it and stuff. So, well, I mean, I feel like they just stole my idea, but maybe, and unless it was in the books, I just don't know about it, but I would actually have to go over it with someone with a friend of mine. They would even respond to my messages, I don't know. But yeah, I remember that. His name was Darth Regnum, which I think is another word for reign, but reign, like reign of empire or something like that. Which, oh man, there should be a video game or something like that called Reign of the Empire. But anyways, just he's getting like this raging force boner, and I guess it completely distracts him from like knowing what's going on with Kylo Ren and everything, because I guess he's maybe just so focused on Rey, but they just make him another throwaway character and stuff. So then Kylo pretty much makes himself the supreme leader, but then General Hux is also trying to do the same thing too, because he was about to shoot Kylo Ren, which, I don't know. It's kind of cool though, actually, if General Hux, because then General Hux in a way could become like the new Thrawn, but whatever. So yeah, I don't know. This movie just is stupid. It's stupid. This, bad choices being made after bad choices and stuff, and it's like, I don't get it. Like, especially with Leia, and with the things that she's gone through, I was thinking to myself, with that, it would create the experience and stuff for her to make wiser decisions, but I guess not. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Because she would actually, I think, know about the Mandalorians. So, unless the Mandalorians said something where they don't want anything to do with these wars or anymore, but of course, I don't think they would want the First Order coming down to their planet and taking over, so it's got to be the Mandalorians. I think they're gonna do something. It's the only thing I could think of, because if no one else in the Outer Rim is going to call to their distress beacon or call or whatever, I think Leia would have to remember something like, I remember a time during the early days of the war, or the early years, but where the Mandalorians were fighting, against the Empire as well. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know if General Syndulla or Captain Syndulla, well, I guess she would be General Syndulla, is alive or anything like that. I don't know. But just have to see what happens with episode 9. Hopefully that movie is better than this one, because this movie it frankly just pisses me off. I mean, I told my dad about it, and he's just like, "Well, I'm not gonna go see that movie now," because I think he had plans on seeing it. I think, but I don't know. He's just like, with Disney World, I'm like, you know, blame the whole Disney thing, but I don't know if that's true or not. It's just this. It just doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie. It doesn't. It just feels like a big old disappointment. So, but that's it. 4 or 5 out of 10 at least. If you want to see it, go ahead. That's your right. As long as you got the money for it. Of course, you can't just go and see it for free. But, yeah, if you enjoy it, hey, that's good. All film is subjective. But for myself, I just wish they could have done something a lot smarter than this film. But I've read things from Screen Rant and stuff saying this and that, but it was not the smart film that it should have been. And I honestly think now, going over it for the past 24 hours or whatever, or 12 or something like that, but the Yuxing Vong should have actually been the antagonist for this sequel trilogy, because you're pretty much just retreading on the original trilogy, and when you're doing that, that's not really original. When you're just kind of using the same plot points and stuff, that's not original. It's not. It's actually one of the reasons why I kind of stopped watching The Force Awakens, just because I've gotten less interested in it, because I'm like, man, it's using the same stuff as this, and it's cool to see the cast, the original characters back. Where the hell Lando is, I don't know, but which they kind of like made DJ kind of a little bit like Lando, but it's whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I hope like there's like the trilogy after this just shows that all this was just someone's really bad dream or something like that. That would be funny if this was if this like whole trilogy like was just a bad dream or whatever, and so I was like, man, that was a nightmare for me. That would be funny. Of course, I know that would piss a lot of audience members off who actually like this stuff, but that kind of would be something, because then they can do the Yuxing Wong. Unless they actually do them in the next trilogy after this, which I don't know, but I think in all honesty, they should have done these aliens as the new antagonists, the new enemies. It would just be better, because then the New Republic's just got something like this unrelenting force that's just coming in and taking planets and stuff, and oh my gosh, it would be glorious. Yeah. But okay, well, that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up here because it's almost gonna be an hour with this, but yeah, that's just my rant, my disappointment with this movie. It really should have been a lot better, but every time I think of something, stuff, I had I had different ideas and stuff that could have been done for these things, but yeah, and then just remember that whole Snoke thing. I'm like, wait a minute, I remember creating a character just like that who could do those kinds of things, and I'm like, is someone reading my old Facebook posts? But I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I will end this, and if you agree with me, that's cool. If not, hey, you're entitled to your opinion. So, but yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.